A warm welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, September 1. Police are investigating the circumstances which led to a fatal accident on the island's roads this evening. Initial reports suggest that around 2:45, a man fell off the back of a truck and was struck by a vehicle traveling behind the truck at Sandy Lane, St. James. Flights have not been suspended between the United States and Barbados. That's the assurance coming from Tourism Minister Senator Lisa Cummins amid concerns from some quarters about the availability of airlift out of the US market to the island.
Barbados has not taken a position that we are suspending airline travel from any of the countries. What we have done under the leadership of the Ministry of Health has been to identify the countries by risk category, whether they are medium, high, or low risk, and on the basis of the risk categories, then we apply various protocols. So you have the pre-testing, which is being encouraged, and there should be new protocols coming out during the course of today. We have actually just issued the approval for them to go live shortly, momentarily, and those protocols will indicate what is required from travel from each risk category, but there has been no blanket ban on travel or blanket ban on air travel specifically coming into Barbados by the government of Barbados.
Barbados has welcomed back all of its U.S. airline partners with the exception of American Airlines, which is yet to announce a resumption date. Acting Chief Executive Officer of the BTMI, Robert Chase, says government continues to work with international carriers, but he knows that Barbados has been moving away from providing airlines with minimum revenue guarantees.
We've reduced to a very, very small proportion of our contracts with our partners, including minimum revenue guarantees. But the COVID pandemic has triggered a different circumstance. Airlines all across the globe, as you know, are in challenging situations. So in order to secure the lift, we've had to look at different models of supporting them. So while we have begun to provide some support in terms of seat support, we've not gone the route of minimum revenue guarantees. So fundamentally, we've said to the airline partners, either through co-op marketing arrangements or through full seat support, where we will support the number of seats that they're bringing with a certain amount of financial support per seat. We have been able to help them to bring back the airlift to the country. As you all would appreciate, the situation is one that we're an island, so without airlift we don't have any visitors. And the airlines are working with us. They have been diligent in trying to find the least cost solution.
Chase also revealed that discussions are continuing with a number of carriers to resume services in the coming months.
We are anticipating the return of American Airlines, and American Airlines is actually very keen and pressing to return, but obviously we have to be conscious of the situation in terms of the pandemic and the situation in the US and how best to manage that combination of health versus resurgence of tourism. At the same time, we are anticipating the return of Lufthansa in the winter, around November, the end of October, November, and also we're anticipating the return of Copa probably end of this year, beginning of next year. WestJet is also scheduled to return from Canada in the winter period, but at this time we're still trying to arrange their situation in terms of what that will look like.
In other news this Tuesday, the Democratic Labour Party spokesman on business, Ryan Walters, is challenging the government to outline its plans for the international business sector. Walters contends the sector, which has always been a major income earner for Barbados, needs a clear action plan to thrive in the face of COVID-19.
The international business sector, as I said previously, guarantees at least 80% of its workforce are locals, and its existence has a positive ripple effect on the domestic economy. Where is the energy behind driving this sector forward? We need to hear from Minister Toppin and the government on what is forthcoming as the country paves a new way. Where are we today with the international business sector? At what rate are we attracting new international business companies since we revised our corporate tax regime last year? Are we any further ahead and making any gains in terms of our competitiveness with the ease of doing business? The economic gap that needs to be filled is tremendous, and many initiatives should be targeted.
2 more people who came in at the Grantley Adams International Airport tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. They were the only 2 positive results from the 152 tests conducted by the Best Santos Public Health Laboratory. One of them is a 53-year-old Barbadian male whose trip originated in the United States and who arrived on Caribbean Airlines from Grenada. The other is a 36-year-old female visitor who came in on Air Antilles from Guadeloupe en route to Jamaica. Both were transferred to the isolation facility at Harrison Point, St. Lucie. No one was discharged from the facility today. The 2 new cases bring the number of people in isolation to 23 and the number of confirmed cases to 176. Recoveries remain at 146. The laboratory completed 17,332 tests up to yesterday.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To the region now, ahead of Thursday's general elections in Jamaica, the Electoral Office reports there was a 56% turnout of Special Services voters on Monday, a decline when compared to the last poll in 2016. Vashon Brown of Television Jamaica has the numbers.
This was 7% less than in the 2016 general election, when there was a 63% voter turnout. 26,276 police, military and election day workers cast ballots at 37 polling stations across the island. A total of 46,777 individuals were eligible to vote. A breakdown of the numbers shows that of the 11,512 police personnel registered to vote, only 4,849 exercised their franchise. 982 military personnel voted out of 4,181, while the majority of election day workers registered to vote did so, 20,445 out of 31,084. Now, the envelopes with the special services votes will stay sealed and be counted with the general population on Election Day.
On the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has visited Wisconsin to back law enforcement after the police shooting of a black man sparked civil strife. Kenosha saw days of violence after police shot Jacob Blake in the back and left him paralyzed on August 23. The Republican president blamed domestic terror for the destruction in the Midwestern city.
We have to condemn the dangerous anti-police rhetoric. It's getting more and more. It's very unfair. You have some bad apples, we all know that, and those will be taken care of through the system. And nobody's going to be easy on them either. And you have people that choke. They're under tremendous, I said it yesterday, I said it last night. They're under tremendous pressure. And they may be there for 15 years and have a spotless record. And all of a sudden they're faced with a decision. They have a quarter of a second to make a decision. And if they make a wrong decision, one way or the other, they're either dead or they're in big trouble. And people have to understand that. They choke sometimes. And it's a very tough situation.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.